All right, guys, what's up? It's Dynasty Life here with the tripod. I'm Stevie B.
It's the Polish Hammer, baby.
If you gotta ask.
All right. So we got you today with another episode of Grading Dynasty Teams. So this is one of the teams from our league, if you're not familiar with us, 14-team league, 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, flex, tight end, some individual defensive players, Dynasty League, okay? So this is one of the teams in our league that asks us to do his team, so here we are. Starting at QB, Derek Carr, Joe Mixon, Andrew Jones, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans.
Jones.
Who's Andrew Jones? This ain't baseball.
Yeah, Aaron Jones.
My bad, Aaron Jones, you know what I mean. Mike Evans, Deandre Hopkins, Curtis Samuel, A.J. Dillon. And we got on the bench, Robbie Anderson, Campbell, Sermon, Matt Ryan, Hooper. Hooper I do like, actually. But, all right, initial first look at the team. Damn, is this Dynasty or is this redraft? Okay, this is Dynasty. Don't like it. Doesn't suit me well with the guys that we have here. A couple older guys. Really got only Mixon and Dillon, 2 guys kind of that you can build around there. But Jones and Dillon worry me a little bit. I don't know what's happening in Green Bay. They could both be low-end running back twos, which is, I guess, decent. DeAndre Hopkins out for 6 games, of course. Michael Thomas, bad news we just heard about him. Something else is going on. He's not ready yet. Whatever the case is, we have no idea. So then has to fill that slot with Curtis Samuel. Nobody else really on the bench. Maybe Campbell. Maybe throw Hooper.
Yeah, but he has a top 5 pick. Curtis Samuel's not going to play there. You're going to draft the top 5 rookie, and you're going to start the rookie there.
And then also he has in draft capital. He's got the 105, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so got the 105. All right, I don't like the team, not for dynasty purposes anyway. That's just my initial thought on it. But go ahead, Hammer. Well, what do you think about this team taking a look at it initially?
It feels average. I think Derek Carr, and we did on the buy or sell, we talked about Derek Carr extensively. So from a production standpoint, I think Derek Carr is going to be mid-tier QB1. As I said, QB 7, 8, somewhere in that range. So I think that puts him on good footing at the quarterback position. Joe Mixon, I think Joe Mixon's terrific. The concern for me, for the most part, is obviously that wide receiver spot. Mike Evans is a big question mark. We never know what's going on with him. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Whatever the case may be. So I wouldn't even go into the season counting on him for anything more than Michael Thomas. Anything more than wide receiver 3 production. So that's a big question mark. And then you mentioned that the Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon thing is very, very interesting to me because I feel like if you have both of those guys, you have to play them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that kind of landlocks your flex position with A.J. Dillon because I think Aaron Jones has more upside, but I think A.J. Dillon, they're both playable. As we see
Dillon's gonna get those goal line touchdown looks, so that keeps him viable as a flex option. This year, Dillon should be a flex option.
Yeah, which I totally agree with. But what I'm saying is from the standpoint of this team, if he has both of those guys, he kind of landlocks his flex position in a sense because you're gonna have to play one of the 2 running backs. I would probably still stick with Aaron Jones. But if you have both of those guys, you kind of have to plug A.J. Dillon in there as well. So that's a real interesting dynamic with his team.
He was a low end number 2 last year, 23 in PPR. So
that's what I'm saying. So, and I think with the departure of Devontae Adams, they're going to lean on that combination running back that combination split for those 2 guys to make up for some of the production. They're both pretty good pass catchers, so that may elevate both of their production a little bit. But you kind of have to play both of those guys. Now he has Darren Waller, which is solid to go with Derek Carr. So I do like that combination. If Darren Waller stays healthy, that gives his team some upside from the tight end spot. I know Mike Evans, Tom Brady's there.
Wide receiver too. He's going to be a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
He'll score 9 to 10 touchdowns this year with Tom Brady.
And as he gets a little bit older, you can worry about him breaking down a little bit. So that's always been a little bit of a concern with Mike Evans, but I do think he is good for wide receiver 2 production. I would agree with that. Obviously, I don't think Curtis Samuel is going to be on his starting roster when we enter the season. DeAndre Hopkins, there's a lot of question marks at the wide receiver spot for me. So, initially looking at it, it's a decent team. There are good pieces there. It's all going to depend on what he's able to get out of the wide receiver production spot with a lot of question marks there.
Yeah. And let me just be clear. When I say I don't like this team, it doesn't mean that it's a bad team. Just for dynasty purposes, things that I look at, of course, is just the value that you have on your team, who you could build around, what you can get. So for me, like, the ceiling for this team is good if Michael Thomas gives you a top 10 season, if DeAndre Hopkins gives you a top 10 season, which he's not because he's only playing, he's missing now 6 games. Is Mike Evans going to give you?
Well, I think
give you wide receiver 1 numbers. I do think Mike Evans will still give you wide receiver 2 numbers for this year. But what do you do, in 2 years, when he's 31 and there's no Tom Brady there? What are you getting out of him? So that's the things that I look at is that, okay, he's okay for the next 2 or 3 years, but I don't think he's going to win a championship, and he's got to somehow get value out of what he has, and he has to hit on his, on his draft picks there. But Bagalar, go ahead. What do you think about this?
Well, it has a lot of names, and I think the big thing for this team now is just the suspension of D-Hop. Like if he has D-Hop going into the season healthy, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at you feel different about the team, and then whatever Michael Thomas gives you, he gives you, but you got D-Hop and Evans. Losing D-Hop is big because Joe Mixon is a RB1, right? Mm-hmm. He destroyed last year, and that Bengals offense is only going to get better. And with the uptick in Green Bay, they're going to run the ball a lot more. He could have 2 RB1s in Jones also. You know what I'm saying? Jones is going to be a top 10 back. So, like, for just strictly looking at it, you know what I'm saying? He came in this league, inherited a team, made the moves he wanted to make for next season to try and win it. If D-Hop was healthy, this would be a good team. But D-Hop got suspended, and now you don't know what Michael Thomas is going to give you, and you're banking on him to give you something now when he probably couldn't. You don't even know if he's going to start the season. So,
and then don't forget about Waller down there.
Well, I like Waller. Carter Waller could be big, but he has to stay healthy. But, with Devontae there, they won't lean on him so much. And I think he'll be healthy this season and he'll make the most out of his opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, he's 29 already? It feels like he's younger.
Well, he didn't play really his first couple of years. I'm saying, in Baltimore. So, and he had the drug problem and he got over that. And you know what I'm saying? Now he's a solid tight end. When he's healthy, he's a top 5 tight end.
I can agree with that. Definitely can agree with that.
I think also too, when we're talking about rating players, and we were talking about this in our own group chat, one of the other owners, what he does is he rates his guys on their best day. And I had to tell him, like, bro, not every single one of your guys is going to have their best day every single week, and they're not going to have their best season every single year. So if you lower your expectations a little bit and you exceed those expectations, now you're talking about something you could work with, because especially with this team, if you're expecting Michael Thomas to come back and be 2017, 2018 Michael Thomas, you could be in big trouble. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important, especially with a lot of these teams and guys that are getting older, maybe have some injury history, some question marks. If you go out there and say, all right, listen, you know, if I'm getting wide receiver 3 production out of Michael Thomas, low end wide receiver 2, and he ends up giving me high end wide receiver 2, low end 1, now I'm in business because I got Mike Evans with the touchdown upside, and I got DeAndre Hopkins, which is essentially going to be like a mid-season acquisition after the 6 games. So
yeah, but and also think about it. It is Dynasty. So all of these players on each season are gonna have their own value. You know what I'm saying? If he's out of it, he could always try and flip one of the running backs, or you know what I'm saying, see what you can get from Mike Evans as draft pick capital, you know, in the middle of the season when somebody thinks they need a play to get over the hump. You know, so everything is fluid. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? For the moves he made, he wanted to feel like he drafted his own team. He picked his own guys, and that's what he came up with. We'll see what happens, but I don't know. Steve, you want to get into rating this team?
Yeah. I mean, I also wanted to say, you know, you're talking about making moves. You know, I think obviously you got to keep. I think you got to keep Mixon. I don't think you can get rid of Jones and Dillon. You kind of have to keep them. And Dillon is young enough to where he, you know, his value is good. Do you get rid of those and grab do you get rid of both of them and grab a wide receiver and a pick or something like that? It's hard to trade Michael Thomas right now. We don't know what is going on. You know,
yeah, but you know, by the trade deadline, you could. You know what I'm saying?
You know, do you wait until the season starts and he has a good game and then just come off of him and get younger? I mean, I guess it really all depends on if you think that you can win the championship, I guess, you know, with your team. You know, what direction are you trying to go? The one thing I will say is this team, like you said, he inherited this team. He was a lot younger and had some superstars.
No, it was a better team.
And he changed that. And he changed that to guys that are
and he wanted,
guys that are hurt, guys that he wanted. You know, so obviously he didn't want to go young. So what do you do like from here? You know, do you go get a wide receiver? You already had one of the best wide receivers in the game for Dynasty, which was Jamar Chase. So just so you guys are aware, this guy that inherited this team had Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Najee Harris, and Jamar Chase and Adam Thielen. Okay, made a trade, got some of these other guys, Jones, Dillon, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans. So, you know, for this owner, obviously he didn't want to stay young. He wanted to be in contention right away. I just think, you know, like you said, Hammer, lower expectations. I think the word I look for more is just be realistic, you know. That's kind of how I feel about it. What do you guys think about the moves? Kind of that. I mean, we won't bring up the trade here, but just hearing some of those names. What do you guys think?
I'm not certain, especially as you said before. He already made a bunch of moves, so I don't think he's going to make any more moves. He could maybe, and as Bagala said, I think another key component is that 105 pick is huge. Because he's going to get one of those wide receivers.
He's going to get one of those top wide receivers.
Right. He's going to get one of those top wide receivers at a premium position. So I think the upside of this team, depending on who that guy is, if it's Drake London, you know, I really like that fit with this core group of guys, especially with a DeAndre Hopkins coming back after 6 games. So I don't really think there's a whole lot of moves to really make, because if you're trying to sell off some of these parts, as you said, if you're trying to sell off a Mike Evans, he's a little bit older. What exactly is their value in relation to Dynasty? Are you trying to accumulate a couple more picks? I think what Bagala said is probably his best bet. If he falls out of it, maybe he does flip one of the older guys to a team that feels like they're one piece away and then picks up some draft capital for the future. But as it stands right now, I don't think there's too many moves to be made outside of moving, you know, somebody for a wide receiver. But like I said, he's got the 105. He's probably going to get a young guy, a rookie stud wide receiver, and he's got D-Hop coming back. So I don't really see a whole lot of moves to be made outside of that.
What do you think, Bakla? Anything about any kind of moves you're trying to make here?
Nah, I was just basically saying if he finds himself, not really producing or anything like that, he could flip some of these guys for draft capital when, you know what I'm saying, try and get younger in next year's draft. But as it stands now, there's not a move to be made. You have the 105. You're going to get a good receiver, and you're going to be forced to play him because you're not going to run Curtis Samuel out there. So, you just throw him in there. You play him until D-Hop comes back, and, you throw stuff against the wall and see if it sticks.
Also, too, do we know if Michael Thomas is even going to be ready for the start of the season?
You don't know anything.
You don't know, but I think he's going to be ready.
I thought he was coming back last season at some point. That never materialized. Right.
No, I didn't think he was.
So how can we say with any certainty that Michael Thomas is going to come back? You almost, as I said before, you almost have to go in with the expectation that he's not going to play.
He's not going to be there.
And then if you get him, all right, cool. Then you'll take whatever you could get,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think for me, I think I don't know. It's going to be hard to move some of these guys now. I think Mike Evans right now, you could move and get good pick for, especially since Godwin is not going to be there for a while. So I'd try and move Evans, and then I'd wait till the season starts and try and move Thomas after a big game. I just get some draft capital and try and just restock on some draft picks, get some younger wide receivers, some stars.
Yeah, well, it is. It's all going to depend
for the year, get a good pick next year. I mean, I don't know. That's like the best case scenario. Just because for me, I don't see this team winning the championship. But if this owner does, maybe he wants to go a different route. But getting into what we're here for, the actual grade of this team, we'll start with Bagala here. What are you giving this team as a grade here?
Probably a C+, B-, in that area.
Okay.
So
Well, what do you think, Cameron?
Yeah, I'm inclined to go B- here. I do think there is some upside if everything does click, if DeAndre Hopkins comes back. I think there is a little bit of a benefit for him missing 6 games. He's going to come in completely healthy. And if he has a healthy 11 games, then I think that could be a little bit of a
back half of the season.
Yeah, exactly. That could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise from that standpoint. Whoever the 105 is, are they going to give him immediate wide receiver 2 production? Because that's what he's going to need on this team. That's what that position is going to call for. So I'm looking at a B- right now with B upside. If Derek Carr has, a top 5, top 6 quarterback season, he could be fighting for a playoff spot. There's just too many question marks from a lot of the older guys for me to go anything higher than a B- with B upside.
Yeah, I think I'm a boggle on this one. I'd say a C+, especially for dynasty purposes of it. Like I had mentioned before, good ceiling, but just the floor can be so bad. If Michael Thomas doesn't come back,
yep.
Hopkins is missing those 6 games.
The suspension is big.
Huge. Jones and Dillon give you only low-end running back 2 numbers. If Derek Carr is in, top 5, I mean, all the stars need to align to do damage for this team. And I just think the chances of that are not as good as this owner may think, or if anyone else thinks that.
But I will say that I do have a lot of confidence in like Jones and Dillon balling out this next year because if there's anything on that team, I'm confident in Jones and Dillon, and Mixon is gonna get their work. You know what I'm saying?
He is. So, that is true. But still,
he has a nice little foundation, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's why I think I'm there at a C+ as well. You guys got anything else you want to add in there, or anything we didn't touch up on or miss?
Nah.
Should have left the team as it was.
Yeah,
that's true as
yeah,
well.
that goes. You don't even
I
have to
think,
say that, but
yeah,
Michael Thomas got a hit. If Michael Thomas hits, man, we're not talking about
I,
those.
I think we can all agree we'd rather have Najee Harris, Lamar Jackson,
I'd rather have all of those.
Mark
Mark
Andrews,
Andrews,
Jamar
and
Chase.
Jamar Chase rather than Aaron Jones, Darren Waller, Derek Carr, Michael Thomas, and Evans. I think he also got right. Yeah. So as an owner, sorry, bro, but you get enough. I love you, but that's enough, bro.
You didn't have to go for the jugular on that one.
Fumbled the bag on this one. I'm just real about it. You know, we're all cool. It's not.
But I will say things crazy.
I think like Bagala had said before, just inheriting the team and wanting to make your own moves. I think he just made two quick decisions on trades he should have thought about. I think going back, I think he probably regrets it deep down.
Probably.
But, I don't know. Those young guys are just real pieces that you want to just build around. I mean, you don't have to touch them. All you got to worry is about the other positions. So, but what else y'all got to say about
it? Laying into him.
Listen, that's just the truth, though. I mean, I can't be afraid to say it. That's what it is. I mean, anybody else out there listening, would y'all rather have those guys I mentioned, or would y'all rather have these guys? I mean,
I think the whole world would have, and I don't know,
okay.
but couldn't stop
it. He wanted to do what he wanted to do, and that's all fair. And we don't know anything. I don't know jack shit. I'm just guessing, just as everyone else is. You know, I have my opinions, just like everyone else has theirs. We could be.
Before the trades, he didn't have Curtis Samuel in his starting lineup. After the trades, now he does. That's so. You know, there it goes.
Yeah.
Like before, Curtis Samuel wasn't touching his starting lineup. Now, bing, he's right there.
No offense to Curtis Samuel. If you ever happen to catch this podcast for any reason, we're not taking a dig at you personally.
No.
He hasn't been productive.
Yeah. No, and then he was hurt. But I will say the team isn't in total shit. There are moves that you can make. Maybe halfway through the season, he's not doing well. He realizes, all right, you know what? I do got to come off some of these guys. Let me get some draft capital. Let me rebuild.
Start selling some parts, you know?
So he does have pieces that even if they hit,
and he has a good pick this year.
Does have some value where he can get some picks. Next year's draft is supposed to be loaded with running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks. Maybe he gets a few first round picks, trading away Thomas and Evans, and then he just revamps everything next year in the draft.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, there are definitely guys on this roster that you can move for a first round pick. Like no doubt about it.
Yes.
So, but I think the key with moving those guys is when you move them, right? Yeah. So that's going to be critical because you're going to look at the landscape. You're going to look at the landscape of what if I'm trading him to a team that's really good, am I going to get a low first round pick? Am I going to get a mid first round pick? So, you know, that's definitely something else to consider when making those trades, but you can always package picks and whatever the case may be. But like I said, this team, if the stars align, as Blanc likes to say, you know, he'll be having to fight and scrap for a playoff spot by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, and one of those guys, Mike Evans, like I said, the value is up there right now because there's no Godwin, right?
Yeah.
Can it go higher when the season starts? Maybe. It can if he does produce, but that owner that you're trying to trade it to him can always come back with hey, Godwin's coming back. Like, I'm not paying that price. Yeah. Now might be the best time to do it. You know what I mean? But, okay, for Mike Evans, what would you give up for Mike Evans, Hammer? What would you give up the 105 for Mike Evans?
Probably not, considering this. If in this particular draft, I would not. Number one, because I can draft a guy, and we know those top 6 guys. We detailed them in our draft recap episode. So I'm not trading the 105 because if I could grab my pick of those guys, I know who I'm taking. I'm taking a guy I want. Those guys, a lot of those guys don't have the injury history or the mileage on those legs and that body that Mike Evans has. He's a physical receiver. He's taken a lot of punishment in the last 8-9 years he's been in the league. So I'm not trading Mike Evans for a 105, maybe a 109, a 110, maybe something in that range, but definitely not a 105 considering the guys that we have in this particular draft.
Okay. And what about you, Bagala? You trading the 105 for Mike Evans if you're a contender? Are you trading the 105, Bog, for Evans?
I think he's confused.
All right. Well, I'm not trading the 105 for Evans.
I wouldn't trade. I wouldn't. I'm not trading the 105 either. My fault. I had some internet issues right there. No, I'm not trading the 105 at all. Not for Mike Evans. Maybe if I'm desperate, middle of the season type thing, where I feel like I need him to get over the hump. I might do it. Just given like when you're gonna trade him or one of your guys, you can get some max value out of these guys if you trade them at the right time.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm not trading 105. Maybe I trade a back end one for him if I have a back end one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like a 9, a 10.
Yeah.
I would feel comfortable giving up like a 10 or 11th pick for Mike Evans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Or maybe you even try and get somebody that might have some upside. Maybe you try and go out and get a Devontae Smith and a back end first round pick, right? Somebody that just has some kind of upside, and you're also getting the pick, with that instead of just being,
I'm trying to get
somebody like that.
Actually,
that's just one guy that kind of came to my head there because the value is down. Obviously, AJ Brown is there. You might be able to snag him away,
Yeah.
So anyway, anything else y'all got to add to this grading dynasty teams?
No.
And let me just get this straight. Y'all ain't saying it's an F as a GM for the trades that he made?
All right. Are we grading GMs or just the team in general? So I just want to know where you want to go with this. Because
y'all are beating me up about grading the GM. I had to do it on this one just for the trades, just because of the young value that he gave up.
Yeah,
I have to say it. For Dynasty, it hurts. It hurt my feelings when I saw this happen.
Yeah, no, I'm in lockstep with you, Blanc. I think the GM grade is an F+.
Oh, okay.
Just from the standpoint of he had the stones to make the trade.
That's true.
All right. So that's where I'm going with that. He had the stones to actually make the trade. So I think that the team had real upside. I love that team when he inherited it. I really did. I love that team. But he made the team in his own image, and I can respect that from that standpoint. So see where it goes. If he gets lightning in a bottle, maybe he could make a run with a couple of shrewd moves. But overall, as his team stands, I could see him just on the outside of the playoff picture.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. And, if you're listening, owning to this team, you're not in the gutter yet, but you got some moves to make. So it depends what you do really from here going forward, because you got a chance to get young again and do some damage if you make some of the right moves here. But other than that, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Grading Dynasty Teams. Like, comment, subscribe, hit us up, send us your team. Let us know what you think, whether you agree or disagree, whatever the case is. But we out.
Adios.